Imagine being a king when you're just 9 years old. That was the reality for Tutankhamun, a young pharaoh who lived over 3,000 years ago. He became king during a time of great change and turmoil. His father, Akhenaten, had turned the entire country upside down by promoting the Aten, the sun disk. This was a massive shift from the many gods Egyptians had honored for centuries. When Tutankhamun took the throne, his advisors likely guided him to restore the old ways and move the capital back to Thebes. It was a huge responsibility for someone so young. We now know from DNA testing that his parents were actually brother and sister, a common royal practice that often led to health problems. Evidence from his mummy suggests Tutankhamun had a clubfoot and might have needed a cane to walk. He also suffered bone disease and had multiple bouts of malaria, weakening his health. Despite these challenges, he ruled for about a decade, and then died suddenly at around 19 years old. Because he died so unexpectedly, his tomb was prepared in a hurry, and was much smaller than those of great pharaohs like Ramesses. Over time, its entrance was covered by debris. For more than 3,000 years, Tutankhamun slept undisturbed. His treasures and story were sealed away, waiting for discovery. For centuries, the Valley of the Kings was a treasure trove for archaeologists and tomb robbers. But one man, Howard Carter, refused to give up hope. His financial backer, Lord Carnarvon, was starting to lose patience. 1922 might be their last season. Then, on November 4, 1922, a water boy stumbled upon a stone step, an extraordinary breakthrough. At the bottom was a sealed doorway with royal necropolis seals, untouched for millennia. Carter knew he had found something extraordinary. He sent a telegram. At last have made wonderful discovery in Valley. Lord Carnarvon arrived with his daughter Lady Evelyn to witness the opening. On November 26th, Carter made a small hole and held a candle to peer inside. He peered into darkness and said, "Yes, wonderful things." The discovery sent shockwaves around the globe. Newspapers ran sensational headlines. A glimpse of the antechamber showed piles of glittering treasures, golden chariots, ornate couches, sentinel statues. It was the first almost intact pharaonic tomb found in modern history. The world became obsessed with King Tut. But soon, a darker narrative would take hold. As the world celebrated, a more sinister story began to form. Journalists hungry for drama started writing about a pharaoh's curse. They claimed a warning was inscribed above the tomb, promising swift death. Archaeologists, including Carter, denied any such inscription existed. The idea of cursed tombs was already popular in fiction. Authors like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle amplified it. Newspapers also reported a clay tablet saying, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king." Fact and fiction blurred. The media fed public fascination with magic and forgotten power. Mystical amulets and eerie museum displays reinforced the mood. The tale leapt from archaeology pages to front pages worldwide. Audiences embraced the spooky narrative. The curse now had momentum. Scientists cataloged artifacts while the public waited for supernatural proof. Every mishap on the dig was quickly tied back to the curse. The stage was set for tragedy. The legend fed on coincidence. Egyptomania spread. Tourists, exhibitions, and superstition grew together. Long before any human fell ill, the first supposed victim of the curse was a small feathered friend. Howard Carter had a pet canary, a cheerful yellow bird seen as a good luck charm. When he discovered the tomb, it seemed his luck had turned. But shortly after, a cobra, symbolic of the pharaoh, was said to have slithered into his house and eaten the canary. Local workers took it as a terrifying omen. To many it was the uraeus enacting revenge. Newspapers relished the haunting detail. Accuracy mattered less than the image. The story was reported internationally, and became a vivid symbol of the curse. For believers it was proof. For skeptics it was coincidence. Snakes are common in Egypt. The cobra and the canary cast supernatural dread over the excavation. It was no longer just archaeology, it was a battle with unseen forces in public imagination. The first human to fall victim was Lord Carnarvon. Lord Carnarvon, the expedition's patron, became the focus of the curse narrative. In early 1923 he sliced open a mosquito bite while shaving. Such wounds could turn dangerous before antibiotics. The wound became infected, he developed blood poisoning and then severe pneumonia. He died on April 5, 1923, timing that fed superstition. At the moment of his death, Cairo experienced a short blackout, later attributed to grid failure but chilling in the story. On his English estate, his dog Susie howled and suddenly died. Another eerie detail widely reported: Sir Arthur Conan Doyle publicly declared the deaths the work of elementals, evil spirits guarding the tomb. His pronouncements gave the curse credibility in the public eye. But Carnarvon had been in poor health after an earlier car accident. He was vulnerable to lung infections. The razor cut likely provided an entry point for infection. Medicine at the time could not always save him, but the dramatic narrative won out. Carnarvon became the curse's archetypal victim. After Carnarvon, the press tracked a growing list of tragic ends connected to the tomb. George J. Gould visited the tomb in 1923 and later died of pneumonia, another name added to the list. Ali Kamel Fahmy Bey, mesmerized by the treasures, was later shot by his wife in a London hotel. The press linked his violent death back to the curse. Aubrey Herbert, present at the burial chamber opening, died that year from blood poisoning after dental work. Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, who x-rayed the mummy, became ill and died the following year. Arthur Mace helped remove the burial chamber wall, complained of exhaustion, and died in 1928 of arsenic poisoning, source unconfirmed. Other names, often distorted by rumor, were added to the growing myth. Richard Bethel, Carter's secretary, was found dead in 1929, reported as suicide. His father, Lord Westbury, reportedly jumped from his apartment months later, tragic dominoes. Each death had plausible causes, illness, accidents, or suicide, but together the press painted a pattern. The media connected the dots. For a public primed to believe, the string of fatalities was undeniable. Fear grew as exhibitions toured and more people engaged with the story. The curse seemed relentless in popular imagination. Amid all the doom stories, one central figure remained strangely untouched: Howard Carter. He spent years inside the tomb, handling and cataloging thousands of objects. Carter publicly dismissed the curse as media-driven Tommy rot. He was a man of science and logic. He poured himself into the meticulous work, often alone, under intense press scrutiny. The media attention and disputes with authorities took a heavy toll on him. He retired and returned to England, living largely in the shadow of the discovery. Carter died in 1939 at age 64 from Hodgkin's lymphoma, a natural death after a long life. The man who might have been the first victim lived many years longer than many of those on the list. Carter's long survival is often cited as the single strongest piece of evidence against a supernatural curse. He completed a decade-long cataloging task, preserving Tutankhamun's legacy for history. But the debate, curse, coincidence, or science, remains unresolved in popular opinion. So, what are we to make of this story? Was the tomb truly protected by an ancient curse? The stories are certainly compelling, the list of alleged victims long and unsettling. One theory: sealed tombs can harbor toxic molds and fungal spores that sicken those who breathe them. Airborne spores from food offerings, plants, or the mummy itself could cause severe reactions, especially in the immunocompromised. A modern epidemiological study compared lifespans of 44 Westerners present at the time and found no statistical difference. In other words, the curse did not shorten lives in a statistically significant way. Many victims died of ordinary causes for that era: infection, pneumonia, heart disease. The press highlighted dramatic cases while ignoring the many who lived long lives. So what do you believe? Magic and spell or health, coincidence and sensationalism? This is where history, mystery, and human belief collide, an enduring puzzle. What do you think? Share your theories in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, like the video and subscribe for more. Check other videos and shorts. Thanks for watching.